do you wanna tell everyone how much you missed Mommy while I was on vacation? Do you wanna tell everyone? No? Nothing, huh? Nothing? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am finally back from vacation. I had such a great time. I was down in Mexico and it was hot. It was really, really hot, but it was so nice and it was so relaxing and I had such a great time. But I am back. I'm so happy to be back. It actually feels a little bit weird to be sitting here filming. It's been that long. So I've got something pretty exciting for us today. We have the SISLEY Phyto-Blanc Brightening Anti-Pollution Cushion Foundation. So SISLEY just came out with this new foundation in cushion form. So I'm really curious. I am excited. I'm excited to try this foundation. I just haven't had great luck with cushion foundations. The La Mer, not really my favorite. I think I'm going to make a video kind of talking about all of this. The Clé de Peau was nice, but the color didn't work out for me. It definitely oxidized on my skin a little bit. Then the La Prairie, which I did like over the summer, maybe even earlier this year. That was probably the only cushion that I really enjoyed out of those three. And now we have this one. I am still like very impatiently awaiting the Tom Ford cushion foundation. I feel like it's been released all around the world except for here in the States. So I don't know what's going on. In the meantime, we have this one to play with. So what I'm going to do is apply it on camera, you know, do a check-in, kind of do my regular foundation review. But I did want to ask you guys if you liked that format. So what I usually do is I apply it with you guys and then I'll do a check-in kind of midday after 4 or 5 hours. And then I'll do kind of like a final check-in at the end of the day to kind of give you my final thoughts and to show you how the foundation wore. I've been just sort of thinking about how I could do it differently just to make the video a little bit shorter because I feel like it's pretty long when I do it that way. I thought maybe I could just kind of talk through everything and just show you clips of me applying it, show you clips of, you know, the check-in and where I am instead of kind of filming it in real time, but let me know. So I purchased this off of the SISLEY site. It's $130 and it is a ½ ounce and there is no like extra cushion. It is refillable though. So I'm a little bit surprised they didn't include an extra cushion. La Mer included an extra cushion, so did La Prairie. Clé de Peau did not either actually, but it would have been nice if they included an extra cushion. This is what the compact looks like. It's actually really pretty. It has like this kind of pearly white with a silver S. And I just wanted to mention, because I feel like it would be remiss not to mention, especially at the end of the year 2018, there are only 3 shades and I just went ahead and got the darkest one. And for me to get the darkest one is so absurd. It's bizarre. It's like their shade range is so bad that you feel like it must be a mistake and that they must be coming out with darker shades in the future. Maybe they're thinking this is sort of a beta release and we're just gonna kind of release like maybe half of the shades or a quarter of the shades now. But the shade range is absurd, like I mentioned. So anyway, that's out of the way. Like I said, there are 3 shades, 1, 2, and 3. I got 3 because on the website, they just looked really, really light. I also got a bit of a tan in Mexico, so hopefully this will work. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. It has a mirror on the inside here. It also comes with a little cushion here. And then, oh, and then there's like a protective cover. Now let me just peel off this protective sticker here. So what you do, there's like this little button here. And so when you press that, I feel, oh, there we go. There is the product and it comes right out of that little hole. So here is the shade Light Rose. And I do feel like this will work for me. So they did include a sponge, which I don't think I'm going to use. I never like them. They're always too flat or too small or something. I don't know. So I wet my Sonia Kashuk sponge, which I plan on using. I feel like there's a slight fragrance, but it's so mild. So I'm going to just squish out a little bit more here. I kind of like this mechanism because the sponge, when it's exposed, it just feels like after, you know, like a couple weeks of use, it just feels like really, really grody. So this is kind of nice. I'm going to go ahead and kind of stick the butt of my sponge in there and just start to pounce that on my skin here. So while I'm putting this on, I just wanted to mention some of the claims that it has. First, it has an SPF 30, which is actually not marked on the box or on the cushion at all, but it is on the website. So it does have an SPF 30. It is supposed to infuse the skin with moisture. So it has a wheat sugar derivative, provitamin B5, and phytosqualene, and hibiscus flower extract. It's supposed to be humidity, sweat, rub, and heat resistant. So we're definitely going to test that out. I'm not going to powder my face after I apply this. I also didn't put down any primer, just FYI. A hygienic airless case, which we've already seen. So titanium dioxide is the SPF that's used in here. It says immediately perfect skin. Skin is moisturized and smoothed. The complexion is fresh and uniform. Imperfections are masked with repeated applications, a brightening action, luminous skin, and protected. That doesn't make sense. With repeated applications, a brightening action, luminous skin, and protected daily. That is not a sentence, but that's what it says on the website. So that's about it. Let me just go ahead and apply this to half of my face here so we can see the difference and check out the coverage. It really doesn't say much about coverage, whether this is a medium, light to medium, full. Yeah, I want to say this is pretty light. I can still see my freckles here. I can still see like a bit of the discoloration around my eye, not too much, maybe a light medium, and we can see the definite difference there on my forehead. I really, okay, I have to say, I really like the finish of this. It has a really nice kind of radiant finish. There's nothing pearly in this foundation. It just looks very, very moisturized. I got this mosquito bite on my chin while I was in Mexico, and of course, I had to scratch it and pick at it, and now it's just this like scab that won't go away. I got the bite like on the first day I was there, and this is just hanging out. Okay, I am going to apply a little bit more. I just want to see if I can build this up. I do want to mention I have very high hopes for this cushion foundation because I have the SISLEY tinted sunscreen, and I didn't have high hopes for that. I just, wanted to give it a shot, and I like the idea of a tinted sunscreen. And I love that product. It is so beautiful on the skin, even though it has more coverage than what I'm used to. And it's absolutely lovely. And I'm generally a big fan of SISLEY. I like their skincare. So I really have pretty high hopes for this cushion foundation. All right, so there is the foundation applied to half of my face. I really like this coverage. I do want to say with 2 light layers, you get like a nice medium coverage. I really like the finish. It feels really great on the skin. You guys know I'm really big on how makeup feels on my skin. I basically don't feel it. If anything, it just feels like, maybe I put on a little bit of moisturizer. And it having titanium dioxide in here, I don't see any of that kind of weird residue that can leave behind. All right, just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna go ahead and use the sponge that was provided and just see if the application is like really different, if I maybe like it better. Press some onto the sponge here, and then I'm just gonna press this onto the skin. Okay, I definitely do not like these sponges. It's official. I don't think the application is much better or anything. So I'm gonna go back to my Sonia Kashuk sponge because I just don't like these. And I'm gonna finish applying it to this side of my face. So just some initial observations. I am peeling a little bit from the sun that I got in Mexico. So right here, my skin is looking a little bit, dry and flaky, and the foundation definitely picked up on that. I don't think that's the fault of the foundation. My skin is literally like lifting off of my forehead here. So if you see that, and I'm going to zoom in, if you see that, that is what's happening there. On the rest of my face, I feel like I can see the pores on the tip of my nose. I feel like, I don't know, like it's doing something weird on the tip of my nose. Like I can see it. I can see the foundation, which I don't like. Over here, I feel like it looks really, really nice. And then right around my lip and chin area, and even over here, again, I'm zooming in here and hope you guys can see it. I do feel like it looks a little bit cakey. And I did put on 2 layers of this foundation. Maybe one would have been better. I'm just going to keep pouncing. And sometimes foundations kind of start to look better as the day goes on. It kind of like melds and sinks in with your skin. But
that is my initial observation here. So I'm gonna apply the rest of my makeup. I'm gonna go really, really light because I want to see this foundation just sort of do its thing. So I'm not gonna add any concealer. I'm not gonna add any powder. I may not even add any bronzer or highlight. I really don't wanna kind of disturb what's going on here. I really wanna see this foundation do its thing, and I'll be right back. All right, so I just put on very little makeup. I just have like a cream eyeshadow on, some mascara, lip gloss. Anyway, I'll put everything down below in the description box. Not that there's much, but I didn't put any face products on. No blush, no highlighter, no bronzer, no powder, no concealer, nothing else. It's probably been an hour since I started filming because I got a little sidetracked there. But I do want to say where it looked a little bit cakey over here along my jawline, I feel like that has fixed itself. I feel like the foundation has kind of like sunken in a little bit, has like melded with my skin a little bit more. And right around my mouth, it looks a little bit cakey, but around my nose, I feel like that actually looks better also. So I think for the majority, this foundation just needed to kind of like settle onto my skin a little bit more. So I'm just gonna hop off here. It is about 8 o'clock in the morning now. Like I said, I started about 7. So I will be back at around noon to give you like a 5-hour check-in, my first check-in, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it is about noon. I have had this makeup on for about 5 hours now. I was just checking myself out in the mirror and I'm really loving this foundation. I think I have a really lovely glow going on with my skin. I hope you guys can see that. It's like this really beautiful kind of radiance. I don't feel like I look oily or sweaty or greasy in any way. I just feel like I look really, really healthy. And before I go on, let me just go ahead and do my close-up here. I'm going to pan down from my forehead down to my chin. So you'll see that peeling part of my forehead, that situation is still there. Hasn't gotten any worse, thankfully. And you'll also see like around my eye area, everything looks really good. It's not like caking up or drying up or doing anything weird underneath my eyes, thank goodness. The tip of my nose, I feel like looks really nice. I think that initial worry I had where it was kind of emphasizing the pores on my nose, that has gone away. My nose does look a little bit shinier than it did this morning, but again, I don't feel like it looks greasy. I don't feel like the foundation has been compromised there. I just look a little bit more glowy on the tip of my nose. And then the kind of cakiness that I had on my jawline, that was pretty much gone by the time I finished my makeup. That's still the case. I think it looks really, really nice. And then the area around my mouth, I feel like is looking a little bit better. I don't feel like it's looking like as funky as it looked this morning. I don't know, like it emphasized any kind of texture that I had like right down here on my chin. And I don't see that anymore. I feel like it looks much smoother. I haven't really, did I eat breakfast? I think I forgot to eat breakfast. So I haven't even eaten anything yet. Wow, that's very odd for me. I just want to let you know, I'm not that kind of person that's like, oh, I had such a busy day. I totally forgot to eat lunch. That never, ever, ever, that never, ever happens. Breakfast occasionally. Anyway, sorry for that little tangent, but I haven't eaten, so there hasn't been a lot of mouth action. Sorry, I don't know how else to say that. There hasn't been a lot of action around here. So what I'm trying to say very ineloquently is I feel like this foundation has just, again, it's like it's done that kind of sinking in and melding around my chin mouth area. It just took a little bit longer, I think, than the rest of my face, like the jawline, but I think it looks really nice. All right, so I have been trying to figure out how I can test this like rub proof or rub resistant claim that they make. Like I'm not going to be able to test their claim for like humidity and sweat proof because it's actually pretty cold here in Vegas, and as you guys know, it is incredibly dry here, so I can't really test that. But I do want to test this whole like rub proof thing, and for me, I'm just going to use my cell phone. So I'm just taking a wipe cleaning off my cell phone because there is probably residual makeup on here, and I've turned it off because I feel like the black background will be easier to see if there's any makeup. So I'm just gonna hold the phone up to my face as I normally would. Maybe rub it a little bit like I'm talking. Press it down a little bit. And well, there's like, do you see, there's like a little bit of a smudge, but it doesn't even look like foundation actually. It kind of just looks like cream. Like I don't see any kind of like nude pigmentation in there. So considering I didn't set down my makeup with anything, I have absolutely no powder products down on my cheek, I think that is pretty awesome. That is really exciting. So that is my first check-in. Again, we're at the 5-hour mark. I'm really enjoying it. So I will be back probably in another 5 hours and make this like a 10-hour wear test, and I will see you then. Okay, now I know I've said this in other foundation reviews, and I probably have said this just randomly, but when I end up looking a little bit shiny and a little bit, you know, glowy, to put it nicely, at the end of the day, I really don't mind because I have very dry skin, and for me to look like this after 10 hours is kind of nice for me. It's sort of a relief. And I will say though, that despite this kind of radiance that's going on, I do feel like the foundation is still there. I feel like there is definitely a good amount of coverage. Like this little, you know, blemish that I have, this mosquito bite that I just had to pick at, this is still covered. And before my first check-in, I wasn't that active. I was just kind of working. But after my first check-in, I walked my dog. I had to run an errand. I had to clean a little bit. So I don't know. I didn't work up a sweat, but I was a little bit more active. So I was, you know, kind of expecting to see a little bit of like a wear down with the foundation. But the coverage is still there. This is definitely long lasting despite the radiance that's peeking through. I just think it looks really, really good on my skin. And because I'm sitting under these bright lights, I do feel like whatever radiance and glow that I do have, it's like being amplified by like the reflection. So in real life, I feel like I just kind of have this like kind of like freshly moisturized look to my face. You guys probably see like a lot of shine like right here and right here because of my lights, but it's probably a little bit like turned down from what you guys see. It still feels great on my skin. We did that rub test and it didn't come off on my phone. I think this is a great foundation, and I have to say, between all of the cushion foundations that I've tried, so the La Prairie, the Clé de Peau, and the Mer, those are the 3 that I've tried so far. This one is my favorite. It has a really nice light to medium coverage. It's long lasting. I get like the glow. It doesn't make my skin look weird at all. So all in all, I think if you have dry skin and you really like a light medium coverage, this is great. And I think this packaging where like basically the entire cushion is covered up and you're basically using this mechanism to kind of like press the foundation out of the sponge is genius, because I really don't like the cushion where, you know, you're constantly opening it, the whole cushion is exposed. This is really great. This is a great, great mechanism. I would not be surprised if we see more brands do this, because this is just really smart. And this will keep the sponge, like, it'll keep it moist longer than the ones where you're kind of constantly exposing it. So I really, really like this packaging too. It's a little bit bulky, but like what cushion compact isn't this bulky? I think they're all pretty chubby. And then the one major downside that I mentioned at the very beginning of my video that I will just mention again is the shade color range. It's atrocious. It's shameful. It really, really needs to be addressed by SISLEY. If anyone at SISLEY is watching, it's not good. It's not good. I have the darkest shade. I have the darkest shade. Okay. Okay. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below, and subscribe before you leave. And I will see you in my next video.